Okay, and the Trump campaign is now reacting to Harris's VP pick. For more on this, I want to bring in CBS News campaign reporter Jake Rosen. Jake, walk us through what they're saying.
Hey, Chanel, thank you for having me on. Caroline Leavitt, a Trump campaign press secretary, just sent out a statement calling Tim Walz a West Coast wannabe who spent his governorship trying to reshape Minnesota in the image of the Golden State. So already trying to brand Tim Walz, who's kind of this everyman, as you guys have all heard from our other reporters here, especially Hunter, kind of trying to frame him and his handling of the Black Lives Matter protests in Minneapolis in 2020, calling him dangerously liberal and a left-wing candidate and an extremist. So we've seen them come out. Obviously, we saw J.D. Vance earlier today say that if it was not Josh Shapiro, that the Democrats were afraid of the left-wing, quote, anti-Semitic part of their party. Tim Walz is obviously not Jewish, but we've seen kind of this Trump campaign preparation for what a potential VP pick from Harris looks like. And remember that Walz was the candidate or in this vice presidential race who really branded J.D. Vance and Donald Trump as, quote, weird, as we spoke about earlier at the top of the hour.
And Jake, I just want to read this to folks who are watching right now. This is a statement on Kamala Harris's selection of Tim Walz today. And this is what it says, quote, "It is no surprise that San Francisco liberal Kamala Harris wants West Coast wannabe Tim Walz as her running mate. Walz has spent his governorship trying to reshape Minnesota in the image of the Golden State. While Walz pretends to support Americans in the heartland, when the cameras are off, he believes that rural America is, quote, mostly cows and rocks. From proposing his own carbon-free agenda to suggesting stricter emission standards for gas-powered cars and embracing policies to allow convicted felons to vote, Walz is obsessed with spreading California's dangerously liberal agenda far and wide. If Walz won't tell voters the truth, we will. Just like Kamala Harris, Tim Walz is a dangerously liberal extremist, and the Harris-Walz California dream is every American's nightmare," end quote. So, Jake, what's the play here? What does this say about the attack strategy that we can expect going forward?
Well, we've seen the Trump campaign kind of struggle to clearly define the policies of Kamala Harris, but her campaign, as she's still been vetting and now picking a vice presidential candidate, they've been trying to redefine what their policies are as Joe Biden is no longer at the top of the ticket. We've seen, obviously, the Trump campaign stance on immigration since Trump announced his candidacy. The Republican Governors Association, so the counterpart of the group that Walz is in charge of, criticized Walz just moments ago in a memo for, quote, supporting a sanctuary state for Minnesota and him calling the border wall, quote, ridiculous. Walz also signed a bill that expanded access to driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. So obviously just one angle of them trying to frame Tim Walz as soft on immigration and pro-illegal immigration, something that President Trump has been trying to do against Harris in the last couple of weeks.
Okay, Jake, thank you. And if you're just joining us right now, CBS News has confirmed that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, who has a history of successfully appealing to moderate voters, is Kamala Harris's choice for her running mate. Harris will publicly announce this pick shortly before kicking off a multi-day tour of battleground states starting today in Philadelphia. We will bring you continuing coverage throughout the day, online, and here on CBS News 24/7. Stay with us for more on this developing story.